Okay, so we were talking about what makes a good couple
What makes a good couple in your eyes?
in my eyes, but I have
First of all, I gotta say, this is a recording, and this is our first YouTube video because I'm gonna have a vlog about the love correction, how you correct things that are messed up in your relationship. So let's start with our own. Now, we were talking about earlier, and I was asking you, so the audience knows, what do you feel a good couple is? Go ahead.
Okay. First, I have to say that I don't think, because this is pretty like short notice, so I don't think that I can fully describe what I think a good couple is in a matter of a few minutes. But
You don't have to. Just say
Uh,
just be honest. Tell
one
us.
thing that's important to me,
Uh,
in my opinion, what couples, I think what's conducive to one thing that's conducive to a positive couple experience is listening to each other.
okay, you were saying earlier that you don't feel, since we've been together, that I listen, right? Tell the audience what you said earlier, because they need to know.
Okay, first we have to we got to step back on this. I didn't say that you don't listen to me, period, okay? Since we've been together. What I said was since we've been together, you have this habit of when I'm trying to express myself to you, when I'm trying to say something that I feel is important, you turn around, talk to the dog, walk away, go talk to someone else, do something, and that is not listening. Okay, listening is being fully present, being engaged. You look at somebody when they're talking, you give them visual feedback.
Right.
It's active listening. It's not. I can do this and listen to you at the same time. That is not possible.
Well, you're right. In a
And
relationship.
it makes me feel like so I just shut up.
Okay.
Why
Okay.
waste my time? That's how I feel sometimes.
Well, I understand that, and that. I'm glad you're expressing yourself. Now, I want to say what I have to say. Sometimes when I'm not listening, I don't do that. Do you know why I don't do that? Do you know why it seems like I'm not listening?
Well, yes, it seems like you're not listening because you're not engaging me. You're doing other things and talking to the dog or somebody else the minute I start to talk. So, yeah, that's why it seems you're not listening.
Well, the truth is, I'm absent-minded. Now, can I please explain myself? My granddaughter's that way. I get in my own head and I sort of drift off somewhere else. I'm sorry, but it just seems I do that.
Okay.
Now, what you're saying and everything you say is very important to me. That's why a lot of times I come and say, "What did you say again?" Because then because then I come back to the fact that you were trying to tell me something important, and I love you, so I'm trying to listen, but I'm so absent-minded.
Okay.
So, what do you do in that situation in a relationship when one of your partners is not that they're being malicious, and they're just not wanting to listen to you, they're just sort of absent-minded, their mind wanders. So what's a good love correction? Because that's the name of my vlog, and that's what I do is love correct. What's a good love correction for that?
Well, I'm not really 100% sure. I think that we know that a relationship is two backyards and a bridge, basically. Okay, so you have this is the one. This is the person, the two people. They're over here, and the bridge is the relationship, right? And you always come to a relationship as an individual with issues. You know what I'm saying? Each individual has issues, and so we. How do I explain this? Like a lot of people, it seems like we have this. We're under this misconception in our society sometimes that you meet somebody, you fall in love, and everything's going to be perfect. Well,
That's not the way
it can never be that way because people are not perfect. And so what you have is an imperfect person and an imperfect person trying to make a relationship. Okay, so I said all this to say this, to answer your question, is sometimes, probably a lot of times, if one person's, if and this is not to single you out. This is like if one person has
Oh no, I'm not taking it that way.
good. If one person has an issue, right,
Uh-huh.
that kind of bleeds over and over the bridge into the other person's backyard, and that makes the other person, it affects the other person negatively, then the person with the issue kind of has to work on that individually, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, okay, so you brought this issue with you when you came to the relationship. So you should work on it like for yourself even, and also for the relationship, because some things can't be solved by the relationship. They have to be solved individually, right? So you ask the question, what would a person, how would someone work on that? Like the not being able to focus or being scattered or whatever. That's something that I would suggest practicing mindfulness.
Mindfulness?
Techniques. Yeah, like staying in the moment, staying present, and it can be hard, because we tend to live in our heads, you know what I mean? And I think that one suggestion might be mindfulness, just practicing mindfulness, like concentrating on one thing, or if a person's talking, like you're doing now, you're looking at me, you're engaging, but I'm not an expert, so that's just what I think,
Well, there's no right and wrong. I mean, as long as...
And then that's a hard one. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's a hard one for me. That's one of my issues I bring to this relationship is I live in a world of right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way I grew up, there's a right and there's a wrong. You're either doing it right, you're doing it wrong. The world I work in, it's right or it's wrong. So it's all ingrained in my thinking. It's you do it right or you do it wrong. But and you're right. There's not always a right or a wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that's an issue that I have a lot of times because I feel like, oh, I'm doing it wrong, or well, how do I explain this? If I do something and let's say I go to the store, right, and I bring home stuff, and maybe I forget some things, and you point that out.
Well, I always point it out, yes.
I feel like, wow, you're really berating me. I feel less than, because I did it wrong.
Right, but in your situation, that is your issue.
Exactly.
That has nothing to do with the relationship.
And I was trying to get at my point where some people, sometimes you bring your issues to the relationship.
Right, and that's where it comes to...
That's what I have to work on, that issue.
Right. That's where I'm coming to when coaching relationships. When people come to get help and to coach the relationships, it's important to know where they came in on the relationship. Okay.
Yeah, but who does that?
That's where my number line comes in place.
Right.
You have a number line, you have the positive and negative. Well, what you have to do is you have to see where you came in on the relationship. Your goal is to both be at 0, but that's not always what happens.
Probably never.
So at the love correction, we try to figure out where we come in on the relationship so then we can fix individually and then fix the relationship. Relationship and the love should always be separate, but we have to fix each other first. So if anybody's interested about how to fix it, please watch my next video and subscribe. Thank you.